Sociology of Underdevelopment. The sociology of underdevelopment helps us understand why some societies remain poor and unequal while others become rich and advanced. It explores the social, political, historical, and economic reasons behind the uneven progress of nations. Underdevelopment is not only about the lack of money or industry, it is also about the deep-rooted structures that prevent societies from achieving equality, justice, and prosperity. Sociologists study underdevelopment to explain how global systems, local traditions, and power relations shape the way different parts of the world grow or stay behind. Underdevelopment often begins with the history of colonization. When powerful countries invaded and ruled weaker ones, they extracted natural resources, enslaved people, and forced new systems of production. This left long-lasting impacts on the economies and societies of colonized nations. For example, during colonial rule in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, the local industries were destroyed and replaced with raw material production for European markets. After gaining independence, these countries were left with weak institutions, poor infrastructure, and economies that depended on exporting cheap goods to richer nations. This dependency became one of the key reasons for continuous underdevelopment. Sociologists also explain underdevelopment through theories like the dependency theory. This theory argues that rich countries develop because poor countries remain dependent on them. The global economy is structured in a way that keeps wealth flowing from the poor periphery to the rich core. The periphery supplies raw materials and cheap labor, while the core produces expensive industrial goods and controls finance and technology. This unequal relationship keeps the poor countries trapped in a cycle of dependency and limits their ability to develop independently. Another important idea in the sociology of underdevelopment is the world systems theory, developed by Emanuel Wallerstein. He explains that the world functions like a single system with three zones: the core, the semi-periphery, and the periphery. The core countries control technology, capital, and trade. The semi-periphery countries are developing and play an in-between role, and the periphery countries are exploited for cheap labor and resources. This global arrangement continues to reproduce inequality and keeps the poorer countries underdeveloped. Underdevelopment is not only caused by international factors but also by internal social structures. In many societies, power is concentrated in the hands of a small elite class that benefits from the existing system. They control land, resources, and political institutions, while the majority remain poor and powerless. Corruption, lack of education, gender inequality, and weak governance further slow down development. Sociologists argue that without changing these internal structures, economic growth alone cannot bring true development. Culture and social norms also play a role. In some cases, traditional beliefs or rigid social hierarchies limit progress. For example, if certain groups are denied access to education or jobs because of their social background or gender, the society cannot fully develop. At the same time, cultural values like community cooperation and local knowledge can also support sustainable development if used wisely. Modernization theory offers another explanation, suggesting that underdeveloped societies need to adopt modern values, technology, and institutions similar to Western societies. According to this view, traditional societies must move toward industrialization, urbanization, and rational thinking to progress. However, many sociologists criticize this theory for ignoring history and inequality, arguing that not all societies should follow the same path as Western nations. globalization has added new layers to the study of underdevelopment. On one hand, it allows developing countries to access global markets, technology, and investment. On the other hand, it can increase inequality by favoring multinational corporations and widening the gap between rich and poor. In many developing countries, globalization has created new jobs but also caused job insecurity, exploitation, and environmental damage. The benefits of globalization are not shared equally, and this continues to reproduce underdevelopment in different forms. Environmental factors are also important. Many underdeveloped countries depend heavily on natural resources like oil, coal, and minerals. When these resources are mismanaged or controlled by foreign companies, local communities do not benefit. Moreover, environmental degradation caused by mining, deforestation, or pollution can destroy livelihoods and increase poverty. Development, therefore, must balance economic growth with environmental protection. Sociologists also highlight the importance of education and human development in breaking the cycle of underdevelopment. Education empowers people to question injustice, develop skills, and participate in decision-making. However, when education systems are weak or unequal, they reinforce poverty rather than reduce it. Investment in education, health, and gender equality is therefore seen as one of the strongest tools against underdevelopment. In recent years, NGOs, international organizations, and social movements have played vital roles in addressing underdevelopment. They provide services, promote rights, and encourage participation from marginalized communities. However, true development must come from within societies themselves, through strong institutions, fair policies, and active citizen participation. In simple terms, the sociology of underdevelopment teaches us that poverty is not only about the lack of money, it is about the imbalance of power and opportunity both within countries and across the world. It reminds us that no nation is underdeveloped by choice. It is the outcome of centuries of exploitation, inequality, and weak systems. Real development means changing these structures, empowering people, and ensuring that progress benefits everyone, not just a few. If you enjoyed learning about the sociology of underdevelopment and how societies struggle for equality and progress, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps in spreading awareness about global issues and inspires more people to think critically about the world we live in.